Dear Melissa, I feel stuck. I'm new to product management and my background is in frontline healthcare. In other words, I have no idea what I'm doing. Everyone I've worked with says it will eventually come to me, but I've been in my role for a year now and I just don't feel like I grasp any of it. I listen to podcasts, I read all the product books, and subscribe to newsletters. What am I doing wrong? I will say my onboarding process was minimal, but I can't use that as an excuse either because I have peers that have had no onboarding process. What can I do? Do I need to consider a new career? So I empathize with you quite a lot in this situation. And I think it's really hard when you end up in a company, and it sounds like this is yours, where you don't have a lot of people to learn from. So as a product leader, you should be mentoring your people new to product management. You should be teaching them the skills that they need to learn. It sounds like you're not getting that. So, one, I'd look at your product leader and say, can you mentor me? Can you be teaching me more of these things, especially if you didn't have the onboarding with that? A lot of people are new to product management. We should be training them. We should be helping them. We should be teaching them why they do the things that they do, not just throwing them into a scrum process saying, listen to developers and figuring it out. This is not a career that is like you follow a process and it just works, right? It's a career where you have to understand why you're doing that. You have to understand why you are empathizing with customers. You have to understand how you go from those problems into solutions, how you start to craft them. You have to understand how the technology works to do that. And then you also have to understand how the business works so that you craft meaningful solutions that both contribute that customer value and that business value. And it sounds like you're not being supported to do that. So I feel really bad. And I'm really sorry that you're in that area. What you're doing is great to read the books, study the podcast, take it upon yourself to learn some of those things. But I'd start taking a different approach. Why are the skills and the things that you're reading about important? Maybe instead of just reading about the process, really dig into what do I need to do to get better at some of these aspects of empathizing, understanding, and then translating it into solutions that will help me click in this area. I'd also ask if you worked in frontline healthcare, are you in a job where you get to solve problems for frontline healthcare people? If you're in a career where it's not relating back to your expertise, it might be hard for you here too. You have this unique advantage as a subject matter expert on this area to craft products for those people. And if you can do that, it's about empathizing with what I needed to do, how hard it was, where were things frustrating, and you start to solve those problems that way. If you're not doing it in the area that you have subject matter expertise in, go back to empathy, right? For your customers and for the people that you're building products for, how do you put yourself in their shoes? And how do you start to think about what's frustrating for them? Just like it was frustrating for you at your job and your job now, too. What are their problems? What about the current solutions do not work? What do you think could make a better solution? And you don't have to come up with all of the solutions on your own. You could be gathering people to help think through different ideas here. That's something that might be able to help you. I'd also look at studying products that work out there, right? What makes a great product? What doesn't make a great product? I like to do product teardowns with people. What about this is great from a business perspective, a technical perspective, a customer perspective where it solves problems, a UX perspective? Look at all of the facets on that and start to deeply understand what makes a great product. That is really going to help there too. But a lot of this comes down to you weren't given that foundation when you started. And a lot of people do get thrown into product management. I see it every single day where they weren't given a foundation. They weren't given the guide on how to go do this, how to get started with this. But you also need that fundamental picture of why product management matters, right? What is important about building products that we bring to the table? So I'd really go back to the basics there, not just the process on stuff. If you're working with your developers and you don't understand what they're saying or why that's important, talk to your developers as well. Sit down and say, hey, yeah, I need you to explain to me like how this all works. I work with a lot of product managers as well who may not be super technical, and that's okay. If you're supposed to partner with the product, with the technical lead there, so that you can help explain solutions to them and you can help explain why things matter from a customer perspective and a business perspective, and then they turn it into a technical perspective. Developers will say terms and stuff that you won't know, and you don't need to know all of it, but you need to know why it's hard to do certain things. What are some technical aspects of that make it harder, and how you can leverage technology to solve problems in unique ways. So I'd get up to speed on some of those concepts from a technical perspective, but don't worry about some of the super finer details of code or anything like that. It's overwhelming. Learning product management from scratch is absolutely overwhelming. There is some defined ways to do this. This is why I started Product Institute, to try to give training for people, because I saw how overwhelming it was. But I will say, like, even just learning a basic framework for it, that's not where it ends, right? It keeps going. So I think you have to take a step back as well and say, do I feel like I'm going to be successful in this career? And do I feel like it's for me? And it's not a failure if it's not what you want to do, right? If it is what you want to do and you got into it for the right reasons of solving customers' problems and through great solutions, then the idea here is, how do I go back to the basics and really focus on that? How do I figure out how to do that well? And then bring that into all of your process, right? Bring that into all the conversations with your engineers and with your leaders and with other people, right? That's what you can focus on. So I hope that helps. I know it can be super frustrating. It also sounds like it might be a good opportunity for you to go somewhere where you can learn if you're not surrounded by a bunch of people who want to help you or want to teach you there, right? So people who are new at product management, they need to learn from somebody. Where are you going to go to learn? You can do some of it yourself, but it's really good to observe other people doing it super well. So while you said that you can't complain because other people had minimal onboarding as well, are they doing it well? Can you observe it from them? And if not, that's where I would find somewhere with support. So I wish you the best of luck, and I hear your frustration, and I hope it gets better. And in the meantime, I hope that our podcasts are helping you learn too.